Okay, we're going to do part 2 of our demo on a Google connector. So we have our VM running and our servers running. Here we go. Okay, so here's our accounts on Google that we've already provisioned. We're going to do a little demonstration here of how we can do some modifications to these accounts. So we're going to use James Hendricks. He's one of our guitar teachers here at IDM Nation. We also, besides doing IDM and OIM, we also teach guitar. So and Jimi Hendrix is doing some teaching for us in a ghostly kind of fashion, but excellent guitar lessons. So he's of course, you know, when we added him, we had one of the younger people were doing it, and they didn't really know Jimmy, and they thought he misspelled his own name, so they put it in as James. And of course, us older guys know better, so we're going to fix that now. Okay, so we should be updating the first name right now in OIM, and the act of updating a first name in OIM, we have a trigger that kicks off for the Google Cloud resource that will update the first name on Google. And you know, we are running on our little virtual machine with all the services and the database, so it's not going to be blazing fast. It'll take about a second. Okay, so let's see if it made it across the wire. Go look at and here we go, went from James Hendricks to Jimi Hendrix. Now if we were to rename the user, you'll notice that Google doesn't have the concept of a middle name, so we won't be able to update that. We can also, let's see, we can update the last name. We'll just misspell it here for a second and run the apply just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so now if we look at our teachers list again, we have Hendrix misspelled, and we'll just go ahead and put that back to what it's supposed to be. We'll apply the update. Okay, so if we go back to the cloud again and take a look, he's back to what it's supposed to be. Okay, now a couple of other things we can do here with the actual resource are let's see, groups and nicknames. Okay, so let's take a look at our resource here, and we'll open it up, and from here we'll be able to okay, so let's put a nickname. He already has James, so what we'll do is we'll add a new nickname just for those that don't know that it's Jimi, and we'll just, so this way Jimi Hendrix will be known as Jimmy, MMY, and James Hendrix. Okay, so now let's go take a look at our account. Okay, so here we have both of them listed. Okay, so we can add as many as we need there, or as many as you want. You have to be careful that you don't dupe out someone else who has the same email address. So you will get an error for that, and it will tell you that it's too many, or a dupe. Okay, so another thing we can do is we can add a user to multiple groups. Okay, let's do that. Let's open the resource here again and take a look at some of the groups that are available. Okay, Jimmy's also he's in the students group, so what we're going to do is we're going to add him to the teachers group. It'd help if you click the add button. Okay, so let's go take a look now and see. Okay, so he's in both the teachers and the students group, and I think maybe what we should do is remove him from the students group, because he's certainly way beyond the point of being a student anymore. Although you could look at it as you're always a student for life, even though you might be a teacher, and probably more so. But just for the sake of demonstration purposes, we'll remove him from the students group. Now we'll go take a look at the user record again. Look at the groups, and he's back just now in the teachers group. Okay, so the other thing we want to do, so we were able to change first name, last name. We added a group and removed a group. Let's take a look at the nicknames. Let's remove James from the nicknames and just leave it Jimmy. So we'll take a look at the nicknames here. We'll remove James. Okay, now we can go back and take a look. Okay, and we just have Jimmy now. Okay, the next thing we want to demonstrate is just checking off my list here. And what we want to do is demonstrate the organization. The cloud only allows a user to be in one organization, and I think so the way we set this up is the code will automatically remove any organizations that aren't the current. So we can move, let's put him in the admin staff. And you'll see what happens here is the teachers will go away and it'll be replaced by the admin staff. So everything is more or less an update rather than an add or a remove. Okay. If you remove someone from an organization, they won't show up on the cloud. They have to have at least one organization. Okay, so now if we go back and try and find Jimi Hendrix, he's now in the admin staff organization. So we'll just go ahead and put him back into the teachers organization. This window must still be open. Yep. Okay, so we'll go here, go to the orgs, and we'll put him back in the teachers organization where he belongs. Okay, so that's done. We'll close the window. Now we can go and to school teachers, and there we have Jimi Hendrix is back as one of our teachers. Okay, so the next thing now we've noticed here on the list is that Jimmy's never logged in. So what we want to do is we want to reset the password for his account. Okay, and then we're going to, just because what we're doing here is when the password changes in OIM, we're updating the password on the cloud. So what we're doing here is making sure we're going to give it a password of some goofy value that it's not currently set to. And we're going to not send an email address. We don't have that wired in right now. So we'll reset the password. Okay, the password should have been updated at the cloud. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll get Jimmy's ID, sign out as ourself, log in as Jimmy using that new password we just created, and hopefully it'll let us in. Yep, okay, so now we just have to agree. Okay, so accept. Okay, so Jimi Hendrix was successfully logged in using our password change. So that's it for this part 2 of the demo. This is a very basic demo. We're just demonstrating that our connector actually works and we can provision accounts to the Google Cloud. We did that in part 1. And in part 2, we're demonstrating the ability to update those accounts, changing first name, last name, adding and removing nicknames and groups, and moving organizations, and updating passwords. So I think that's a pretty good demonstration, and it certainly proves that our connector does indeed work. So happy Googling, folks.